Hello, everyone. We are about to do an IoT workshop, and the purpose of that is to make it clear for everyone what IoT is. Like, not just some buzzword. You get your hands on to see the actual principle and what's the benefit of this technology. To tell you a little bit about myself, I'm a maker, and some time ago I pushed my hobbies to a startup business. And that is what I am still doing currently. So I built this network of IoT devices. It's very much related to the workshop I am doing now. This network is currently my job. So this is not related to what I'm presenting, but it's nice to see that a hobby can be pushed to something which can be brought on the market. And to get into a few technical details, IoT basically means something which is small and cheap and has internet connectivity without requiring complex hardware like a desktop computer. Because you know that years ago, when you wanted to do some measurements and have some automation to that, what you would do would be to use a computer and just send the data to the computer via a serial port or something like that. And only then you would be able to push it to the internet. Nowadays, electronics went so much further. We can use a microcontroller and program it to do a network stack. A microcontroller can talk TCP/IP and can do the job on itself without too much effort. And this is a big advantage, and it was what actually allowed IoT to develop. One of the units I built is on the picture to the right. Is a unit which used an 80 mega 328 to do some measurements and push them to the internet. So, to get started, this is what we are going to do today. I'll be distributing some kits to you. These are free, and you will need to assemble them and get them to work. And the purpose of the devices we will build is to measure temperature and send the measurements wirelessly via wireless LAN. It's very easy, but I really hope that in the 2 hours which we have now, we will be able to complete all the devices. I have 20 devices, and I would like to know first, which of you is very good at soldering? Okay. And from those which raised hands, are you also good at software programming? So you do also soldering and also programming? Just the programming. That's great, because one of the units is pre-soldered. That will go to you. Okay, please raise your hands. Raise your hands. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, stop. I have only 20. There's a loose battery, so in case a battery is missing, let me know, because I found one out of the plastic bags. I'll get to programming also. So, sorry? Yes, yes. So we should also do the programming part, but since we have almost known one there, another one here. Okay, we have a few laptops here. Yeah. Okay, then there's one more left. Okay. Hi, nice to meet you. How are you? I forgot here.
No.
The flasher, right. Okay, so I still have the battery. I think it's from the one which is assembled. That one doesn't have a battery, right? Battery. Okay, so if you look on what you have in the bags, there are no instructions because everything is easy. So we'll just learn what we need to do by going through the work itself. There is a board which I hope some of you are recognizing. It's the VMOS Mini. Then there are two shields which can be just stacked to this board. And we have a battery, so we can demonstrate how easy it is to do a mobile application, a mobile IoT application. We'll be needing the soldering station in order to solder the pins to the boards and then be able to stack everything before we can do the programming. But to give you more details, since you are preoccupied opening the little plastic boxes, I'll just present some additional details. IoT needs the component which you have in your hands. It's the sensor, if you want. It's the IoT device itself. But we also need a platform to bring the data, because the idea is to centralize the data so we can actually do something useful with it. An interesting experiment would be if we could map this room with the position of our devices and do a heat map, if you want, because we have so many temperature sensors. That would be very nice, and I encourage you to follow this direction, but for the purpose of this workshop, it will be too much time consuming, and we won't do that unless we have very much time remaining. So, as you can see, or maybe not, there's a chart to the bottom right. The idea is to collect the data and do some data representation or visualization. For this workflow to function, the sensors need to be assembled, send their data online, and there needs to be a database and some scripting involved, and then finally we need to have some visualization mechanisms in place in order to get to this final result. Those of you which have laptops, I know that you are all friends, but it would be really useful if you could relocate yourself among the people which don't have a computer. It would be very helpful if you could do that, because then we could use maybe a computer to several people. Okay, we have here also. Do you guys there have a computer? We can do it on the front desk. I have all the tools prepared, but believe me, it's more interesting to do everything with your hands, because you get to understand things much better. Okay, so as we get going, try to install the software on the screen if you don't have it already. Some of you will have it. So we will be using Arduino development environment to get things moving easier. You'll also get this presentation. So in case you won't be able to cover all these aspects today, it would be great for you if you could do it at home, because it allows for very many customizations. And once you get the device going, we can just pre-program it here. You'll be able to change things yourself in order to learn more on what you can do with this kind of toys. So first, please make sure you have the Arduino development environment installed. Are any of you familiar with Arduino? Have you? Okay, we have one here. You also? You guys there? Okay, one here. What about this table here? Do you have any experience with Arduino? You don't need it. You don't need it. I'm just asking. Okay. Could any of you guys which did Arduino before get to that table? I'll be around you to help you with questions, so we can do this part easier, okay? So feel free to ask me anything to help you with the installation. Okay, for soldering, maybe some of you will want to get to that part. You can do it in many ways. Personally, what I did was to make sure the battery shield gets in the middle. So I used female connectors on the VMOS, and then the battery gets the long double female-male header pins. And finally, the temperature sensor gets the male pins and stays on top. The reason for that is to make sure that you get real temperature measurements, because we will get some heating from the electronics, and placing the temperature sensor on top, it's best. But you can do it in any way you want. Now I'll just get back to the software screen. Okay, the second link is the driver for the USB to serial converter. It's a GH334X driver which we need.